Estrin here at Piano World. Today's video is technique. What is the proper hand position for the piano? Growing up, I remember hearing all the time, play on the tips of your fingers. You may have been told to round your fingers or almost feel like you're holding a ball, and you might think, boy, that's uncomfortable. What is this all about, this idea of rounded fingers? That's what we're going to talk about today and see if there's something in that for you, or if is it just hogwash. Let's explore that. All right, I know that I always found it kind of interesting that I was told to play with rounded fingers, and yet I'd watch videos and performances of Vladimir Horowitz and see that he seemed to play with flatter fingers, and so I was trying to figure out what is the right way to approach the piano. Well, growing up, I had very, very small, weak hands, and my fingers would collapse, so the joint would go this way. And of course, this is not good on the piano because you can't control the motion going backwards. That's one reason for curving the fingers. But you don't really want to ever be using muscles to maintain a position. In fact, the perfect piano position is one that you can maintain with absolutely zero effort. How is this possible? Let me demonstrate. If you were to take your hand on a flat surface and use no muscles at all, and just let your hand drop, you'd notice that the fingers naturally round. And why is this so significant for the piano? Well, here's the problem on the piano. You put your hand on the piano and you notice some fingers are longer than others. This presents a real problem. However, if you just drop the hand and let the hand go into its natural position, it's all in a straight line. Not only that, but it's very important to notice you only have white keys on the edges, but inside you have black keys and white keys, which is why it's very important to keep your hand at the point at which black keys and white keys meet. Otherwise, you find you have to go in and out for the white keys and the black keys, and that gets very cumbersome. So this is the whole secret. Going into a position that takes zero effort to maintain and being over the keys you need to play. This means you can use the minimal amount of effort to get the maximum amount of sound out of the instrument with the least amount of muscle tone. Of course, developing strength only helps everything, but if you can play with efficiency, you can really develop better. So playing passages become effortless. Now, there's a lot to playing the piano. I had the opportunity to study with some phenomenal pianists. My father, Robert Estrin, was my teacher until I graduated high school and went away to conservatory. In conservatory, I got to study with some great pianists, among them Constance Keene, Ruth Stanchinska, and John Ogden. Now, think about this for a minute. My father and John Ogden, both very large men with enormous hands. Constance Keene weighed probably less than 90 pounds. And Ruth Stanchinska, also a very slight woman. So naturally, there are different approaches to the keyboard. But I'd say there's a universality about the approach to the keyboard that requires no effort to maintain. So please think about this. When you approach the piano, just let your hand just go to the piano in a position that takes no effort to maintain. Stay at that magic line at the point at which black and white keys meet, and you'll be able to play with less effort than you've ever been able to use before. This can help to sustain a career or a lifetime enjoyment of the piano without hurting your hands by being sensitive to being in the right place so you don't have to reach hard and maintain a position that's uncomfortable for you. So yes, there's truth to this rounded fingers, but it's much more than that. Experiment with this. If you have any questions about it, contact me, Robert Estrin, and I'll be happy to deal with all of your questions. Thanks for joining me. See you next time here on Piano World.